Good morning, guys. It's January 24, 2023, 9:24 in the morning, and I'm just finishing up my watch list. So for today, I am mostly watching a gap down list. To begin with, I am looking at AMD. AMD is a gap down by 3%, and it is opening as an inside bar right here because the previous day close, the current price is within the previous day close. Hey guys, good morning.
Hey, what's up? Hey, he had AMD at the top of his list, but the current price is within yesterday's. Do you agree with that being the number one?
No, yeah, I was just gonna say that that's an inside bar, so that would not be in my top one. I'm also looking at, I literally just put in the watch list, but Verizon is good, VZ, just because it is a gap away play. Comparing it from previous day close, it is pretty much have that gap from 39.46 now at 38.58. Do you have that in your list?
Yeah, it's just at the bottom. I kind of ranked him as he did because they were asking him about Verizon, and he doesn't like it because he said it doesn't trade well. And those companies like that, AT&T and Verizon, he said they never trade well.
Yeah, they don't. But yeah, I still have it on my watch list in case I don't get to see anything, any potential movers. So I'm just finishing up my levels. So VZ, and then next one is, let's see here, the triple M. Right now, the volume is very light, so I'm waiting for the volume to pick up on this. So I'm putting in my level. 115.43 is the pre-market low. Pre-market high is at 122.67.
Every one that he had at the top of his list is an inside bar from yesterday.
So let's see here.
AMD, Tesla, Apple, NVIDIA, and Baba he had at the top, and it looks like they're all an inside bar.
Yeah, looks like it. So that means we just have to wait because there's really nothing much. And the reason for being is if you look at the SPY is an inside bar. So the rest of these stocks are also reflecting as a SPY.
You looking at the 5 minute or 1 day?
I'm looking at the 1 day. So if you look at the 1 day, that is, yeah, inside. The price right now is inside yesterday's.
Is the current price on the SPY 1 day, is that 400.63?
Current price is at 398.93.
Yeah, I don't see.
Yeah, look at the daily. And then for Tesla, 140.64 is the low of the day, the pre-market, and the high is 146.49. Apple is an inside bar, as well as Nvidia, just like what you said. Baba, what is Baba doing? Baba does not have a lot of volume. Just putting in my levels as well. Pre-market low is 118.29. And let's see. Lyft is the only gap up one. And this one is a 4.4% above from yesterday's close. So I'm going to be watching Lyft closely. Right now, what I'm looking at is it is on the R3 in the pivot point, Camarilla. Let's see. Not a lot of volume. Tesla, we're already watching. AMZN or Amazon, I'll be watching Amazon as well. Just because if you don't have that in your watch list, I'm looking at the daily levels and the daily chart, and it is above yesterday's close. Although right now it's a flat, it's just 0.59, but I like how the daily looks like. So we have like 35 seconds left before the market opens. And then the low float stock, this one we can just watch, is BXRX. Yeah, we can just watch this one, but really not trade this because very risky. SOX, nothing. All right. Turning off my levels, my pre and post market data here. Looking at Lyft. Lyft is the only gap up here. This one is doing a gap fill, filling the gap from yesterday, about to touch that high of that doji from yesterday. That high of the doji is 15.71, so it might try to touch that. SPY is down. SPY is from 399, 398 right now. I'm thinking of going long Lyft if it goes at 15.95. because 15.95, that is above the VWAP. So starting a small position in Lyft. Stop loss right here is at 15.8. So tight stop loss, average cost is 15.97. So giving myself 16 cents as a stop loss, as a risk. We do have stocks of 16 in the ask, so that's positive. 15.94, 92. SPY is heading higher, so that should help the long position. So 1591 in Lyft looks like acting as a good support right now. I don't like that it's printing 15.80s in the tape, but I do have my stop loss in 15.81. About to get hit. Yep. I got stop out at Lyft. First red trade. So Lyft does not have a lot of volume, so I'll give it a break.
See something else?
I'm still looking at Lyft right now, trying to see whether this one can give us a 9 EMA trade. So in 1 minute, it's starting to have that support at the 9 EMA, 15.7. And that level, 15.7, that's also the high of that doji from yesterday. So that can act as a support. So I'm going to take a long if it goes above 15.80. Because that is the high of that doji from that previous candlestick. I'm looking at the 1 minute. So 15.80 would be the entry. So started a small position, 15.80. Stop loss here, 15.71. So stop us at 15.71. Stop out as well.
And you can see on the 1 day, pretty much today already is within yesterday. Is that kind of correlate?
Yeah, correlates with that. We're just in that inside bar. Look at what Tesla is doing in the 5 minutes. Look at how wicky that is. That's what we call the wick.
Jeez. I mean, how could you predict what that's going to do?
Exactly. There's a lot of algo that went off. A lot of stocks had actually just halted without any specific reasons. Like NIO, just watching, I just put that in as well. NIO was halted and now just resumed.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm a little bit late, but starting along in Lyft. I like that it bounced from that yesterday's close. The ideal entry here is 15.49 at that high of that doji in the 1 minute. So I'm a little bit late because my average cost is 15.59. So I'm late by 10 cents. Stop loss here.
You're entering it in the 1 minute?
I'm entering in the 1 minute. My stop loss is that previous day close, which is 15.44. This about, yep, stop out again. So this one. Clearly I cannot read Lyft.
Goes up a little bit and just keeps trending lower.
Yeah, so I'll give this a. I can't read it. Okay, I'm watching Coin, COIN.
Yeah.
Okay, Coin is the volume is dying when it's going up. So that line right there, 55.98, is previous day close. So that can act as a strong resistance. What I'm thinking of is a strong rejection at 55.97. So I can start shorting this. But right now, it does not give us any indicator yet that it's finished with this going up yet. But once it does, then yeah, I will try to short this one. Let's see. Looking at the SPY now. SPY is going higher. 56. We do have a bunch of orders at 56 right here at Coin. So expect a pop at 56. Or a touch at 56.
Yesterday's close is at the top there, right? Those dotted lines?
Yes. Yesterday's close is 55.96.
That looks like a rejection for it, huh?
Yeah. that there's still some 56 at the ask. So that means we're still not done going higher. I like that the volume going higher is, the volume bar is starting to get smaller. So 56 still has a bunch of orders at 56. So what I'm waiting for is a sign of reversal, because you want to go in when at the weakness. 55.83. $55.81. I'll try to short it at 55.70. That is below that level of that moving average. So once I see a print of 55.70 in the tape, then I'm in. So I have my hotkey ready to press it, and I'm just waiting for 55.70 to print on the tape, and then I'll press that hotkey. Right now, I don't see any 55.70, only 55.85, 82. There's a 76 there.
Below the moving average.
What's that?
55.70 is below the moving average.
Correct. That's my targeted entry to the short.
That must be on the 5 minute.
I'm looking actually at the 1 minute. 55.70 is the entry. I'm looking at the 1 minute. So now it's 78, 85, 80. There's a 73 there, but no 70 yet. 75. Okay. So this one, tight stop loss here, 56.02. That is just above previous day close. So very tight stop loss. Entry was at that 55.70. SPY, the 1 minute, is very wicky. So this can be very wicky as well. I don't like that the volume is low, that red bar.
Yeah.
Lots of consolidation here. So what I'm thinking here is if it goes below 55.67, yeah, let me step out. So when this happens, every 1 minute I am getting step out. So this is the time that I will switch gears and use the 5 minutes.
Okay. Because the 1 minute's just too fast.
The 1 minute is what we call very noisy, just very choppy. So if you want to silence the noise, go to the higher time frame, and that is the 5 minutes. AMD is running.
Yeah, it's starting to go up too.
Our good buddy AMD.
I know. It's pretty reliable.
Yeah.
It's usually going to move one way or the other.
Right.
Heading for that pre-market high.
Look at that. Nice. That is pretty. Our watch list is in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Now look at the watch list now. Like, because since it's just a 5 minutes, you can actually see their trend in the 5 minutes. But you can already tell that it will be a choppy day when the SPY is an inside bar.
Yeah. In the 1 day.
In the 1 day, yeah.
Yeah. Right in the middle of yesterday.
I'm looking at coin. I'll be shorting this one at 56 point. Let's see here, 56.04. I'm reshorting this one, coin. So I'm looking for a price of 56.04. The reason why I'm interested in this is if I look at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes is that previous big candlestick is higher than the one that's forming right now. So if the one that's forming right now goes beyond 56.48, that is the 5 minutes, then my thesis is invalid and I will not go into this trade. But if the price goes down to 56.04 without retesting that previous candlestick high in the 5 minutes, then I will go short on this. So the entry is at 56.04. The only thing is now my thesis is invalidated again because that volume bar on the 1 minute at 950 is small. So let's see here. So that's when you get to check if it's a high probability trade.
We're increasing the low on 56.04, the entry.
56.04, that is your 950 candlestick in the 1 minute. But I'm looking at the 5 minutes because that big candlestick at 9:45, that is higher than the candlestick that is forming right now at 9:50. If you do compare that height of that 9:45 and 9:50 candlestick.
Yeah.
So that means we're getting lower lows, lower high.
Which is strong.
So right now, my average cost is at 55.91 to the short. Thinking of adding to this position, there's a 56, a big bid at 56. So that can be very bearish as well. Just added to my position to the short side. Now my stop loss right here is that top of that 56.48. I'll give it a little cent. So 56.49 is my stop loss.
Did you enter in the 1 minute?
So I entered in, give me 1 second, hold on. I entered in the 1 minute. So I like that can 953 volume bar is starting to pick up the volume. So now we have a bigger volume there. We do have 56 right here at, let's see, at the bid side. Yesterday's close is acting as a strong support. That is that 55.97. So I'm waiting for that 55.97 to be broken so we can see this one lower.
Bridge.
So 56 still has a big bid at 56. So now looking at the 5 minutes candlestick, that opened below as well compared to that 945 and 950 candlestick. So that's another indicator that we're heading lower lows, lower high.
In the 5 minute?
In the 5 minutes, yep. So the way that you use the 1 minute as well is if you want to enter in a position that, an early position, you get to use the 1 minute, of course, with a logical stop loss. And this logical stop loss here is that high of the day, which is 56.48. So again, that 55.95 acting as a strong support. We just broke that. So that's very bearish. Okay, good. Still has a lot of bids here. We do have 55.50 at the bid. What is the SPY doing? SPY is helping us because the SPY is heading lower as well. So this one is working in our favor, about to hit the VWAP. At this point, you can either get some partial when it goes closer to the VWAP because expect a bounce in the VWAP. So taking some partial here. Now I'm moving my stop loss closer or lower than my entry. So even if I get stop out, this is still going to be a green trade. So SPY is still heading lower, so that's good. What I'll do now is trail my stop, keep lowering my stop. So even if it bounces, it still is green. Taking another partial. Now my stop loss is now below the VWAP. I'm aggressively lowering it down because we do have that aggressive movement already. Let's see. So now the rest of the stocks also is lowering or getting pulled down, which could have been a good short. But so far, coin is working in our favor, and we use that volume price analysis to short this one.
It seems like you didn't really use a candlestick on that one. It was more the volume.
For this one, I used the candlestick for entry and stop loss. Yeah, because that's how you get to put in where your entry and stop loss is in that candlestick.
As far as your guide of that you should short it.
Guide of I should short it. I use all three: volume bar, candlestick, level 2, and also the tape. Ooh, still going down.
Wow, just like that.
So the market is really dropping here. So now, you always wanted to look at what other stocks are behaving like a market. AMD now touched the VWAP. That can, if the market decides to bounce back up, then AMD can be a good long. Because AMD is pretty much strong. It was just being pulled by the market. So now it's at the VWAP 74.55. Now looking at the volume, 1 minute volume bar right there is going down as well. So the momentum for this to go lower is starting to an end. So that means what I'm thinking is I will try to be long on this if it gives me the signal that it's had stopped going down. But right now it just broke the VWAP, so my thesis is invalid. So this means that it's not done yet going down. And this is the kind of move that we like to capture now that the market had decided to, or the overall stocks have decided to get a direction. This is where you wanted to be aggressive on those trades. That's why I keep scanning our watch list and trying to see whether there's any more movements that we're able to catch. Because at the beginning, everything is just at the VWAP, which is just flat, and that's why we were just getting chopped. So now looking at AMD still, we're lower than the VWAP, so that's very bearish. But is the SPY picking up momentum? So if the AMD goes beyond 74.5, which is above the VWAP in 1 minute, then I will try to have it long. So 74.4842 is now the one at the tape. So that means no trigger yet to go long unless I see a 73, 0.5051. So
Based on the 1 minute?
I'm looking at the 1 minute here. So I can have an earlier entry. But I'll cancel my thesis because the SPY is still not done heading lower. So that's how you quickly cancel your thesis, because when you look at the SPY is still heading lower. So that means we're not done yet going lower. So no conviction yet to go long at this point. Now, what I'm seeing right now is Amazon, AMZN. Amazon, look at that big candlestick, 98 to 96, that R3. And that's why I have that in the watch list. That's a huge rejection there. So this one still has a room to go lower, just because yesterday's, this is just almost like filled the gap from yesterday. And let's see here, still looking at the SPY, because what you wanted to trade is those that are extreme. This one for me, compared from the rest of the stocks, are extreme, because for those 5 minutes candlestick, they are huge. So for Amazon to move 98 to 96.5, that's a huge one, considering that it was just that 2 candlesticks in the 5 minutes. Now, so that's what I'm thinking of. But now I look at Tesla. Tesla is doing the same thing. Tesla has 2 huge candlesticks in the 5 minutes. That is what we call an overextended. So that means everything is just being pulled, and that's their common denominator. So that means it's just the market, or it's just the SPY that's giving this influence on the rest of the stocks. So what we're waiting for right now is the sign of reversal for Amazon, for Tesla to go long, Nvidia as well, because it just cannot just go all the way down the whole time. This one will have a bounce, but you cannot short this one right now because it's overextended. So at any time, this can bounce as well. So what I'm watching is Amazon. I'm watching Coin. Coin has the same, that huge 5 minute candlestick as well. So Coin, Tesla, Amazon, everything, those 3 has the same huge 5 minutes candlestick that are very like those reds. So we wait and we look for a bounce back to the long, because at this time it's overextended and we cannot short it. AMD is doing the same thing. AMD, looking at the 5 minutes just in the watch list, it's about to hit the S4. So that can be a good support as well. If you look at coin in the watch list, it is also just hit that S4. So almost all of them are about to hit the S4. Amazon just went lower than the S4. So among all those stocks that we're watching, Amazon is the one that has the huge drove down, the huge like going down because it just broke its S4. So the way that I judge this one is among all the stocks, which one is the most overextended? And that's why I get to watch Amazon as well. Because if Amazon is the most overextended one, that means this one has the most room for this to go up. In the 1 minute in Amazon, I am gonna go long in Amazon when it gives us that conviction that it's done going lower. There's still a bunch of bid, so that means this one still has some room to go down. But the good entry in Amazon is at 96.42, and now I'm looking at the 5 minutes candlestick. Candlestick in the 5 minutes, that S4, 96.42. So that is a good conviction that this one is reversing.
So if it goes past 96.42, that's a good entry?
Good entry because of that S4 in the 5 minutes. So what I do is I have my hands on the trigger, hands on this hotkeys. If it goes in that 96.42, then I'm in for long. I'm looking at the 1 minute. The volume is going low as well. So now looking again at the SPY. The SPY, do we have a good conviction that it is heading higher? Not an A+ setup because of that volume. So I am in for long in Amazon. Entry here. I got in at 96.46, a little late.
Stop loss.
My stop loss is at 95.98.
Based on the bottom of the wick?
Based on the bottom of the wick, and it's easier to look at that because you get to see the bottom, the lowest part in the 1 minute. So if you look at the 1 minute, it'll be clear where the bottom of it is, and that is at 90, yeah, 90, what is that, 96. So stop loss, I place it here, is at 95.97. So I like that that volume bar is small when that red candlestick closed. And now if you look at the S4 in the 5 minutes, we are still playing in that body of this 1005 candlestick. So we're still above the S4. Just add it to my position here. Since I added to my position, I would have to update my stop loss because I have to consider that now my position is more compared to the, but the stop loss is still the same, 95.97. So this level at 96.69, we placed our levels there earlier. That is the pre-market low. So expect a resistance there. But now we do have that confirmation in the 5 minutes. Look at the candlestick in the 5 minutes. It's hammer, and that is, you know, signifying a strength as well. This could have been a perfect setup if the volume bar in the 1 minute is increasing. But yeah, it's starting to get that volume. But look at the SPY. SPY is also heading higher. So we were able to spot on the start of the reversal on this because we look at the 5 minutes, we look at the 1 minute, and we were able to see as well, you know, volume price analysis for this. If you, Tesla is doing the same thing, that hammer. I don't like that the SPY is having a rejection in the VWAP, but since our average cost is okay, we still have some room to give this one some time. So what I do is, since I don't want to memorize my average cost, I just put in the line there, like a horizontal line of where my entry is. So I would know whether it's breaking my entry, it's going above my entry, or below my entry. And that's why we have that shortcut there to put a horizontal line So volume bar at 1012. That red one is at least a smaller volume bar.
Which stock?
1 minute.
Amazon still?
Amazon still. Yeah, because this is the one that I started an entry going to the long.
Yeah.
So remember, even before that 96.69 was touched by this candlestick, I was telling that, yeah, expect a resistance there at 96.69 because I do have a level there, which is the previous day pre-market low is 96.69. So that is serving as a strong resistance there. SPY is playing above the VWAP in the 1 minute. So that's a good sign right there. Volume bar in the Amazon, the 1 minute, when it's going low, the volume bar is as well as going low as well. That means it's losing its steam for this one to go down. So that's a good sign. Now, if we look at the 5 minute candlestick, that's what we call higher high, higher low, because the 1005 candlestick, the bottom of that candlestick is lower than the 1010. So that means we have spotted that start of the reversal. So this is the pop that we were waiting for. Now expect a good resistance as well at the VWAP, which is around 97.11. But this one is already working in our favor. So what I'll do is take some partial here, moving my stop loss above my break even. So even if I got stop out, this is still going to be a green trade. So that 97 there was a strong resistance, but that is always is the key or the case with a fixed number like 97 or 97.50. Those fixed amount sometimes can serve as a good resistance or a good support because a lot of traders are taking some profit or partials in fixed amount. And at this case, it's at 97. And also 97, if you look at the 5 minutes, that is where the S3 is as well. But look at the volume in the 1 minute. We're starting to pick up the volume. So that's very positive if you are long. Did you take this Amazon trade?
I just did, yeah, a little while ago.
Okay. What was your entry?
Average cost. That's what the average cost is, right? 96.84.
Okay.
It was a little later here.
Yeah. Which candlestick did you use? So I got stop out, but yeah, I got that move.
In the 5 minute, the one at 10, the second white hammer.
Okay. And you said 96.80?
96.84.
Oh, that must be the current hammer now. The current candlestick in the 5 minutes. Yeah. So that's really late.
Yeah.
The entry here is that S4, which is 96.42. If you look at the price at 96.42, that is that hammer. So
as soon as it passed through the S4, right?
correct. And that's how you look into an early reversal.
Do you expect Amazon to go back to the VWAP though?
So for the Amazon, right now, I don't like to trade this one just because we're close to the VWAP. So I don't have any rooms there if it passed through the VWAP. The volume is dying as well at the 1 minute. So this can just have a rejection as well. But yeah, that's why I like trading those extremes. Those that are like this one when we were analyzing it, when it was overextended, oversold. I like the first bounce because that gives you a higher probability of the move. Because there's always going to be someone covering their position. But like this one now, since it's so close to the VWAP, the volume is dying. So this one can just consolidate and just move around like, let's say 10, 15 cents, which is not going to be, it's going to be hard to make money out of that move.
You got to hit that very first move.
Right. And the way you analyze that very first move is just like what we went through earlier. So we look at the SPY again. The SPY just had a big rejection there at 400. Looking at the 5 minutes, and look at how tiny that daily candlestick is. It's like a very tiny doji, and that's how you get to know, oh, it's just going to be a choppy day because the SPY haven't figured out which direction it wants to go.
Yeah, in the 1 day. It's right in the middle yesterday, that doji.
Yeah, it's just like a line. So now I'm watching Lyft. Now, if you look at Lyft, the 5 minutes, the 1 minute, it's very choppy. But now I switched gear and now I'm looking at the 15 minutes. So what I'm looking at 15 minutes is the same thing. Now, the 15 minutes, that R3 is acting as a good support because we are in that higher high, higher low. meaning that if you look at the 15 minutes, that 10 a.m. candlestick is lower than that 10:15 candlestick. So my thesis earlier was if it goes above 15.62, then I will long this stock. If not, then I will not enter this one. But my thesis just got invalidated quickly because we just had a big pull down there. And looking at the SPY, that's the reason why we're getting pulled, because the SPY is going lower as well, because SPY just lost the VWAP. And the volume bar as well in the 1 minute in lift, starting to pick up that volume bar, which is a big volume bar when it's going lower. So that means this one still has room to go lower. Now what I'm looking at is coin. If you look at coin, it had been playing in the S4 region. So initially it touches that S4. I do have a level in 53.85. 53.85, that was the pre-market low, but it keeps bouncing above the S4. So I like that. That means that S4 is acting as a good support. So if this one gives me a signal that it's done going lower, then this can be a good potential to go long. But the volume is still high on those candlestick, that like 1024 candlestick when it's going lower. So that means this one is still not done. Now look at the 5 minutes volume bar in the coin. The red the red volume bar, it's starting to go lower. So that means the momentum for this to go lower is also dying. So pretty much watching this one for a reversal. So we'll be interested to do a reversal when it goes to above 54.34. So 54.34 is my level. I got that price because that is the high of the body of that previous candlestick at 10:20 5 minutes candlestick. Ideally, what I will use is the top of the candlestick, but since there's a huge wick, I will use the body, which is 54.34. If it goes above that, then I will go to long this one. I don't like that there's a lot of bid, so that means still has room for this to go down, but I wouldn't even be able to trade this one unless I get that trigger price, which is at 54.33. While I'm waiting for that trigger price, I'm looking at the volume bar, I'm looking at the level 2 and seeing am I seeing huge ask that will support my thesis. Right now, there's none. Looking at SPY is bouncing at the VWAP in the 1 minute. Not a lot of volume in the 1 minute, so expect consolidation at this price. Now, if you look at the Amazon, just that watch list in the 5 minutes, look at that. That's why we did not touch it again, because it's just consolidating.
Yeah.
So when it's consolidating, you're just going to end up paying commissions for that, so you don't want to touch that. So you want to trade the extremes. So still watching coin. Coin is still undecided, so you just let it do what it wants to do. But once that trigger price, 54.33, is triggered, then I will take this one long. About to get my trigger price here, 54.33 to the long. Just started a small position, so entry here is at 54.37, and we already got that pop right there. Stop loss right here is the low of the day, which is 53.96. So 53.96 is the stop loss. Expect a pullback right there because that was a big squeeze there. But that's why we have the stop loss. SPY is doing the same thing. So SPY is just playing with us because it just totally just rejected that level. But since our stop loss is at 53.96, we're still in this trade. Volume bar at the 1 minute when it's starting to go lower is smaller at 10:30 compared to that 10:29 volume bar. The red volume bar is smaller than that white volume bar.
In the 5 minutes, right?
Looking at the 1 minute. Now 53.34, looking at SPY. SPY is very bullish. So I'm thinking of adding to my position, and I just add to my position as well. Since I added to my position, I am just updating my stop loss. So still 53.96, but changing because the number of my position now needs to be updated. So 54.6 is acting as a strong resistance there. Now looking at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes candlestick is still higher high, higher low. So that means it's still closing higher compared to that 1025 candlestick in the 5 minutes. So SPY is at least made up its mind. It's above the VWAP now. Let's see. So although market is still 0.29% low, but at least on the 5 minutes as well as the 1 minute, it's already above the VWAP. Still on my coin position to the long. Volume when it's going down is getting lower. So that's good since I'm along. Bunch of bid in coin. So that's bearish. 54.
Jeez.
But the volume is dying in the 1 minute when it's going down. This might retest that S4. Now looking at the 5 minutes, that volume bar as well at 10:30 is getting smaller. SPY is going down as well, just went below VWAP. And that's the reason why coin as well is acting like that. Okay, coin just got me stop out. I re-entered long, small position on coin. The average cost that I have for coin is 54.28.
And this thing can't figure out what it wants to do.
Yeah, if you look at that 5 minutes, it's just flat. The highest there is 54.59. And so it's just playing between 54.58 or 59 up to 53.96. So like 60 cents move there. So we're picking up the volume in coin. Still with this trade, it's just grinding so slow.
Yeah. See that white?
So 54.51. Let's see. Good. This one is already working.
Finally in the green.
Finally, there you go. So VWAP is at 55. So looks like we do have a potential to go there at 55. Good pop right here. Oh my gosh, excellent. Yeah, about to hit that 55. Took some partials. Got all out. I didn't want it to turn against me, so I took everything out. Oh my gosh.
You finally made those reds green, huh? It's still going up.
Yeah. There you go. You're still in the trade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's going back down.
So 55, expect a strong resistance there. It has big asks at 55 as well. So what I do with that is I'll put in an order at 54.99 just in front of that big ask. In that way, you get filled first before it gets dumped on you. But yeah, very strong right here. SPY is heading lower as well, so expect a pullback. I'm starting a long in AMD.
Yeah.
Since I'm already out of my trade in coin. Just because it's about to, it's now higher than the VWAP. Looking at the 5 minutes as well. So the trigger right there is that 74.36 in the 5 minutes. Stop loss will be at that 73.93, which is the low of that red candlestick right there.
Higher highs and higher lows.
Yeah, looking at that 5 minutes. So the trigger there was that 5 minutes candlestick at 1040. But of course, the VWAP is always going to act as a strong resistance there. What I'm waiting for is this one to burst out of that VWAP. But yeah, I do have my stop loss in place just in case.
You're out of coin and just an AMD now?
Yes, I'm out of coin. I sold it like close to the VWAP. Yeah. Are you still in coin?
Yeah. Still watching.
Yeah, looks like it's going to reject that VWAP now in coin.
Yeah.
Looking at the 5 minutes volume bar in coin. Yeah, the volume is also going lower. The thing that I like AMD that caught my attention is for that consecutive 5 minutes candlestick, it's just in that trend or it's just in that consolidation level. So at one point, it will decide where it wants to go, going low or going high. But let's see here. SPY so far is heading higher. So that kind of support, that long thesis on this AMD. But AMD was such a mover yesterday that this one can just be under consolidation for the most of the day. But at the 5 minutes, we're still at that higher high, higher low. So previous candlestick at 1045 closed higher compared from that 1040 candlestick in the 5 minutes.
74.
So this one, we'll see a pop if the SPY pops as well. That's why I keep looking at the SPY. Just need to pick up the volume. In the 1 minute for the SPY, look at that volume bar at the 1 minute. So that's a huge volume bar right there. So yeah,
Which one?
volume bar in 1 minute SPY.
1051 there?
1050, 1 minute. Volume bar there is higher.
The second white one's a little bit higher than the first one.
Yes. So that volume bar is, if I hover around it, 153,000 compared to 47,000. So significantly higher bar. $400 with the SPY, that 400 price level has always been a strong resistance there. Look at how it always get that rejection once it touched 400.
What's the rejection for the SPY? Which one?
The price level of the 400.
Doesn't like going above that.
Yeah, because if you look at the daily chart, every time it touches that 400, we have found a big rejection there. So back in January 18 as well as January 17, that huge candlestick right there, boom, just had that rejected at 400 level. But the AMD, the 5 minutes is still higher high, higher low. So if you look at the 1 minute, then that might get you a bit scared about the trade because it's very choppy and those big candlestick. But if you look at the 5 minutes, you will see that it's still higher high, higher lows. So kind of like makes you less scared about this trade.
Yeah, it takes, like you said, it takes a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just seems like in 5 minutes the volume bars are lower than the candlesticks, but maybe that's okay. 5 minutes.
So this is not an A plus setup because yeah, you're right. The volume bar is not there. The high volume that what we're waiting for is not there. But also considering the time, it's already like 11. Most of the day traders are closing their position at this time. So that's why past 11:30, I stopped. Most of the time I stopped trading because the volumes are not there anymore. So still has that strong resistance at 74.45 in the 1 minute in AMD. I don't like that the volume bar is dying or getting lower. But 5 minutes candlestick are still intact. And we just tested that VWAP 74.50. That was the one that I was waiting for. And the SPY is testing 400 price as well. So I want to, if this, there you go, the pop right there at the SPY help this trade as well. So I am starting to take some partial here. Now I have the liberty to move my stop loss above my entry. In that way, if this one even turns back on me, I am still green on this trade. 74.70 looks like acted as a strong resistance there. A lot of sellers. But at this point, I already got the move. So what I'm doing is I'm just trailing my stop. SPY is about to hit 400.6. So that's helping this trade as well.
You were already in AMD, right?
So I was in AMD at the VWAP at that 74.47 because I used the 5 minutes candlestick. Let's see here if I'm about to get stop out. Look at how the volume picked up. And yeah, I got stop out. So with that move, I was able to capture from 74.47 up to 74.68. So 47. So like 20 cents move.
You probably started with 1,000 shares, right?
How much did I started here? Started with 1,000 and then I added, so 2K.
Yeah. You don't need much of a move when you have that many shares.
Yeah, like 15 cents, 20 cents. And then, did you close your coin position? Coin looks like still has some room to go higher.
Yeah, that got me out.
Gotcha. So far with that, how many trades was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 trades, 4 are green, 1 red. Wow. AMD. At least now SPY have decided which way it wants to go. Now it's testing that body of that previous day close, the high of that body, which is 400.58.
I mean, if it goes above 400.6, that's pretty strong.
Yeah. The high of yesterday is at 402.65, so we'll see. So since I got stop out, now I'm looking for another, another trade. Big rejection here at AMD. Volume is picking up when it's going lower. SPY as well has that big rejection at 400.6. I will short this one if it goes below 74.69. Looking at that 5 minutes. So the body of that 5 minutes, the one that's forming right now, below that 74.68, I will go short. So trigger price is 74.68 to go short.
The 5 minute?
In the 5 minutes.
And that's the bottom of the candlestick that's going on right now?
Yes. But if this candlestick that's forming right now goes above 74.94, which is the wick of that previous candlestick in the 5 minutes, then my thesis is invalid and I will not enter the trade at 64.68. That means this one still has the momentum to go up. But right now it's close to 74.68. So my hands is on the trigger to go short on this. Looking at the tape, if it prints 74.68, then I will enter short. So far, the lowest one is at 74.71, so no trigger yet to go short. Really close though, 70, 71. Okay, entering a small position to the short.
Did you stop loss the body on that, or is it still the wick?
This one, since the body and the wick is very tiny, I'm gonna use the wick. 74.98 is my stop loss. SPY has a bounce, so 74.98 is the stop loss. If it goes below 74.68 again, I will add to my position. But looking at the SPY is very strong, so this can go either way. But the 5 minutes is still lower low, lower high. Right now, the level 2 is just equal, so not a lot of imbalance yet at level 2. Just added to my position, 74.74. 74.71 is now my entry.
Going short in AMD?
Going short AMD. Just updating my stop loss because I added 74.98. So when you use the body of the candlestick to enter a position, and if the body is too tiny, what I do is I use the wick, just because if you use the body, then you're just gonna get stop out so easily because of that body is too tiny. Yeah, and that's why I use the wick right here. So this one is already working in my favor, and yeah, just because this SPY also has a pullback right there, so you can either have partial at this point because it's close to the VWAP. What I'll do is I'll do some partial, moving my stop loss lower than my break even, and that is to protect profit. Even if this one goes back, then I still make money out of this because now, yeah, it has moved pretty much good. Picking up the volume here, so that's pretty good. SPY had that huge rejection at 400.62. Okay, so got me stop out, but yeah, made money out of that move.
Just that short move.
Just that short move. Still has some room to go here, but anytime it can also just pop because that level at SPY, short squeeze can come in there, so you can easily just get short squeeze there. So I don't want to touch this one at this point.
Now, did you add your shares, or you just started with 1,000?
I added to my share when it has that pullback or going higher, but it's still lower low in the 5 minutes. I added to my position, so that made it a 2K position.
So most of your shares, you're either starting out with 1,000 shares and then adding. It's usually between 1,000 and 2,000 shares.
Correct.
See, I need to short
Coin now. I was a bit late here because I was watching AMD, but a good short right here is at 55.33. That body of that candlestick. And at this point,
on the 5 minute.
On the 5 minutes, correct.
So you'll short even though it's a hammer, not an inverted hammer.
So I'm this is not an A plus, but I will short it because I'm looking at the SPY and the SPY is, is weak. So that means it will be pulled by the SPY as well.
When it goes below the body or the bottom of the wick?
Below the body because the wick is too large. Because once you use the wick is too long that the wick is already touching VWAP. So that means you're already late.
But if the wick is short, you'll use the wick.
If the wick is short, like let's say just a couple of cents, then I will use the wick. AMD just broke the VWAP, and of course my position was, I already closed that out. Amazon, thinking of shorting Amazon right here. Best spot could have been at 96.93. So I'll look at a good rejection at that 97, which is the VWAP. Bunch of orders at the bid, so that's very short bias here. So the volume bar in this 1 minute is dying. So I started my small position as well in Amazon, just to the short side. Stop loss here is this wick, the high of that VWAP, which is at 97.08. That is the candlestick in that 5 minutes. So now I'm using the 5 minutes to trade this. So 97 point, I'll give it a little room. 97.09 is my stop loss.
For Amazon?
For Amazon, average cost is 96.88. So yeah, if you look at the 1 minute, 1 minute does not really give you any clue on where it wants to go. But if you look at the 5 minutes, 5 minutes had that big rejection, or not really a big rejection, but the 5 minutes, you'll see that the candlestick is forming lower low, lower high. And that's why at this time, I like using the 5 minutes because it silenced the noise in the 1 minute.
Yeah.
So SPY as well is forming lower low, lower high. So if this one passed through 96.88, I will plan to add to my position. So trigger price to add is at 96.88.
Is that based on the low of that red candlestick there at 11:05?
Correct. Or sorry, 11. That candlestick right there, that wick. So that is the white one. Yep. Because that one was my trigger. So added to my position, 96.88. It just touched that. Since I added to my position, now I am, this one is already working in my favor, but I am just updating my stop loss because I need to update the current volume. So right now I'm waiting for, this one had that pop because all the shorts have their stop right here. So this one is a short squeeze right here. So I am waiting for a reversal right here. It's the high of this candlestick right here. Looking at SPY, starting a small position here to the low, or stop loss 97.25. Adding to my position here. So now we're below the VWAP, which is good. Lots of volume at the bid. Next destination is 96.95. Tesla has a big rejection as well. 94, still heading lower. 92, 91, we're still heading lower here. Covering some, moving my stop loss here. Lower than my break even. So trailing my stop here, since it already had moved in my favor. Okay, so I am done with my trade. It is 11:34, a little bit longer than usual, but with that trade, it's a choppy day. I got 1400. So I hope you have a green trading day. And as always, I'll see you at the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.